Okay, so I'm going to start with my IR spectrum. The procedure was fairly easy. All you had to do was add a few drops of your substance to the machine, and the computer basically did everything for you. All you had to do was process and print out the spectrum at the end. So, as we see, the first peak is at 2984. At first, I thought that since it was just below 3000, it was indicating just a regular sp3ch bond. But then at second glance, I realized that it is actually a strong and broad peak. So I think that it is actually indicating an OH carboxylic acid bond. And then the last major peak that we have is at 1707. And this, I believe, indicates a carbon double bonded to an oxygen, which could signal for an aldehyde, a ketone, or a carboxylic acid. But based off of the first peak, I think that it is a carboxylic acid. So my unknown substance was a part of group 2. I believe that looking at my data, it should have an OH bond, which all three of them do have. It should also have a double bonded oxygen. So you can rule out butanol because it does not have a double bonded oxygen. That leaves us with these two. Now, since there is not a signal at 1600 indicating an aromatic ring, that is how I narrowed it down to propionic acid. Then for my HNMR, situated. For my HNMR, the first signal is actually the procedure, this was a little more complicated than the IR. You diluted your substance with chloroform D, like a 1-to-1 ratio, and then you put that test tube into the machine, and there were many steps and codes to get all of the information to show up on your graphs, like the the proton signal, the numbers for the ppm, and then at the end you printed out you had to add all of the codes back to print out your spectrum. So the first major signal we see here is a singlet, a 2H singlet at about 7 ppm. This indicates an aromatic ring is present in the chemical composition. The next signal that we see is a 1H triplet at about 2.4, 2.5 ppm, and that, I believe, is saying that a proton is alpha to a carbonyl group, which would indicate that there is a carbon double bonded to an oxygen present in the molecule. The third signal we see is at about 1.5 ppm. It is a 1H multiplet, and I believe that the signal at 0.08 is also, the 1H triplet is also signaling for the same thing, just that there is a saturated CH bond far from the other functional groups. So looking at the possible unknown medications, the first signal at 7 ppm indicated that there is an aromatic ring. So we can automatically get rid of all of the substances that don't have an aromatic ring, as well as the cyclohexane and the cyclohexene, because they do have a ring, but it's not aromatic with the double bonded carbons in the right place. So we're left with the first one, these two down here, and then this one down here. Next, we're looking for a double bonded oxygen. So we can get rid of this one, and we're left with the acetophenone and the methyl benzoate. And then while both of them do have a carbon bonded to a hydrogen, that is not part of the aromatic ring, so that would be part of the 1.5 ppm and the 0.8 ppm. There is no signal indicating this additional oxygen, so that is why I believe my unknown substance is the acetophenone. So to conclude, my IR substance was 42 in group 2, and I think that it is propionic acid, and my NMR substance was number 47, and I believe it is the acetophenone.